So due diligence is the process where once you're under agreement with a buyer, the buyer is now gonna, open the curtain, look into the organization, and figure out if everything that we have said about your company is true through the information that they collect. So it starts with a Q of E, or quality of earnings, which is often a third-party company that will come in, that will be hired by the buyer, that will come in and really analyze your financials. And that is looking at your bank records, your taxes, your receivables, your payables, your QuickBooks account, all of your accounting, to make sure that all of those numbers that we have represented through this process are factual, line up, and there are no anomalies. There's no surprises. And that's ultimately what diligence is about, is ensuring that the buyer does not have any surprises post-closed. So they'll start with the quality of earnings, really look at those financials and figure out, are they as we've represented? Once that has been completed, that's usually the first major step, because that's where the most red flags come up, and that also determines the purchase price. Oftentimes there are things that we represent in the financials that we think maybe are an owner's expense, so we call that an add back. That is an expense that a new owner would not incur. The new owner might disagree with us and say, we're going to have to pay that as well, so we don't agree. We don't think that should factor into the purchase price. So those are the negotiations. Those are the first rounds of negotiations, because they really affect the purchase price and if that changes through the diligence process. Once that step is done, then we know that the purchase price is going to stay firm, or we agree on what it is now. And then the next round of diligence that comes very quickly is more of the law side, the legal side of things. So they're going to look at HR, they're going to look at all your HR files, they're going to look at your policies and procedures if you have those, they're going to look at any lawsuits that have happened or might be pending. They're going to look at all of those things that might be an issue for them post-close. They're going to look at every piece of paper that's ever gone across your desk, so that they understand your company, they know any kind of exposure they might have as they acquire the company, and they understand how to take the company on once you've closed. So that diligence process is probably the hardest part of the entire process. It's very cumbersome. You often want to have someone from your company come in and help you, since they want so much detail. You'll often want your CFO or your accountant to help you with that, because it's just a lot of busy work. You're pulling in your articles of incorporation. You're pulling in, your employee handbook. So it's everything that really encompasses your company, and it's often the most difficult part, because you're running a business and you have to get all this busy work done. But it gives a level of security to the buyer that what they're buying is what they perceive. So it's a very heavy lift for a lot of sellers, and we try to warn people that this is where it gets stressful. And you do sometimes feel like you're being scrutinized as an owner, because they ask so many questions. The buyers just want to know everything and anything. But it's important to realize that this is just the buyer's way of understanding what they're purchasing. And same way you'd have a home inspection or you'd test drive a car, buyers need to go through this process to ensure that what they're buying is what we've represented and what they anticipate.